and there are some mid-ranking Conservatives involved too, in an attempt to get a cross-party consensus because they understand what is at stake. Now, there are certainly going to be splits, and as we saw yesterday, there are certainly going to be dissidents within the cabinet. But the fact that we have a coalition government, the fact that Cameron himself is in a very difficult position, the spin doctor that he employed, as I said, is today being held on perjury charges. He is vulnerable, and that all adds to the sort of context of enabling real change at the political grassroots. There are an awful lot of backbenchers out there who are actually quite angry. Some of them, it has to be said, and I would say this quietly because the Daily Mail will trumpet it once Leveson is over, some of them because they feel they were very badly treated over MPs' expenses, and a lot of them were very badly treated over MPs' expenses. So this will be heralded as MPs' revenge. A little bit, there's a little bit of truth in that, and actually I don't think that's a bad thing. But predominantly I think there is a real political alliance building. But certainly the civil society groups and academic groups need to keep pushing to make something happen. Just a quick point, I suppose, on what Saatchi was saying. As I understood your point, Saatchi, you were actually saying, to what extent might any improvements that might be, we might ideally wish to make in traditional mainstream media could well be undermined by very rapid changes in what is emerging from new and social media. That was the point you were making. And I absolutely take that point. I do, though, with my dinosaurs hat on, sometimes worry about the rather outrageous predictions that are made about the impact and the rise of social media. They are not mass audience yet, and I don't see them in the short to medium term becoming mass audience influence cultural or editorial products yet. So the pictures that are circulating about Gaddafi, etc., for those who wanted to see them, yes, they were available. To the extent that they actually might serve to undermine normative, ethical, editorial standards in mainstream media, I don't see that as an issue yet, but I think it may well become. And I take Pete's point about, let's look at historical precedent because we can learn an awful lot from history.
The other thing I'd say about that particular ethical thing is it's hugely variable. Southern Europe has very different tastes from Northern Europe. We're particularly, I think, respectful of the moment of death. But this is not the view in Southern Europe, and they're not notably nastier to people when they're dying than we are. So I think that norms around, which I feel quite strongly about actually, those kind of images, and actually I think the kind of coarsening of public taste and the notion that a person should be allowed to die, or any person should be allowed to die as they die themselves. I personally feel quite strong about that, but they are very, very variable norms. And even if you looked at 9/11, it was incredibly differently reported in Italy and France from how it was reported in Germany, Britain and Scandinavian countries. So you're looking at a very interesting area. There may be mobility of taste and there may be something going on, but it's already in a very complex and culturally kind of rich brew of other kinds of values towards things like death and politics.